I found this among my late grandparents' belongings in a shed. They had accumulated a lot over the years, as they lived in that house for more than 60 years. I couldn't open it because of its condition, but it's a metal container with a top that moves up and down. It feels pretty heavy and seems like it could be some sort of pressure vessel. My friend advised me to be cautious until I figure out what's inside, as they used many hazardous substances for everyday tasks back in the day. It's clearly some kind of hand pump, but the strange valve with two necks is puzzling. There are no markings anywhere, not even on the bottom. Any idea what it could be? It's a solid metal box about 3 feet tall with all sides equal, forming a perfect cube. It's sitting in the garage of a house that's recently been sold. The top has a heavy lid with a hole, and when we opened it, a strong smell of gasoline hit us. There don't seem to be any other openings. My friend immediately said, "Leave it alone," suggesting it could be a storage box for a high-activity radioactive source. We called the fire department and police, but they had no idea what it was. Googling didn't turn up any answers either. If it is radioactive, we're all in trouble. Any ideas what this thing is? We found the paperwork, and it turns out it's a massive safe. I reached out to the National Nuclear Department, or whatever it's called, and they advised me to contact the fire department. I also emailed the local physics department at the university, though it was late, so I likely won't hear back until tomorrow. My grandpa had a similar safe, the same size and type of opening, which was built into the floor. I spoke with another friend who's pretty knowledgeable, and it seems like it's safe, pun intended now, but I'm still going to follow up just to be 100% sure. I feel fine, and it's been almost 12 hours. It's a solid, iron-like metal object, about 3 feet long and weighing around 30 kilograms. It fell from the sky and landed in an open area next to a 2-story building at around 2 p.m., creating a hole roughly 15 feet in diameter. Any ideas what this thing is? Not sky, the broken crane fell from adjacent shipyard. The 40-kilogram metal object that was thought to have fallen from the sky in Sitakunda's Patiari Union belongs to a crane from adjacent Furdu Steel Corporation shipyard, according to the police and local authority. I came across this in a basement I was working in. It stands about 18 inches tall and is made of cast aluminum. It's connected to copper water pipes, and the material feels like thick, sturdy cast aluminum. The house uses a well for its water, and this device has copper pipes leading into it. It felt cold to the touch, so it doesn't seem to carry hot water. Any idea what it could be? It is a water swirler. A pseudoscience device that's supposed to give water all kinds of magic properties. They come in all forms and shapes. The common thing is that they are insanely expensive. I found this in an office in New York City. It's about 5 feet tall and made of wood and what I believe is cast iron. Is it a dolly or a pry bar? Any ideas? It's a Johnson bar. It's for moving really heavy stuff. You get it under one side, pull it down, and between half of it off the ground and your helper, you can slowly but surely move stuff around. If you need to move a heavy safe, this is what you would use. A friend of mine was digging for usable soil, which is quite rare on this island, to start a garden and accidentally unearthed something unusual. While digging near the entrance of a major Caribbean harbor on his property, he came across an object about 4 inches in diameter. Could this be a piece from a cannon? It's been safely stored and handled with extreme care to avoid any risk of it going off, but there's no specific department to contact here for this kind of thing. The object was found right at the mouth of the harbor in the town he lives in, and he was told that ships used to have to discharge their guns before entering the harbor. Could this be what he thinks it is? Any ideas? This structure is part of what's known as Dillinger's Cabin in Martin County, Indiana. It's a spacious 12 by 30 open room, supported by massive stone pillars in the center, and it appears to have a dirt floor. The interior is entirely open, with no walls or partitions. On the left side, as seen in the photo, there's a heavy iron door that's been ripped off its hinges, accompanied by a small barred window next to it. The roof seems solid enough to have been used as a play area back in the 70s and 80s. Built into the old riverbank, it has a dungeon-like feel, likely part of an old hideout. I've never encountered a room quite like it before. My guess is that the horizontal bars typical of bat caves allow the bats to fly through easily, but does anyone have an idea about this? It's an ice house. Old houses would use them for ice storage before the time of refrigerators. I found this object washed up on the beach along the Gulf Coast. It's made up of circular shapes, each with a dish-like indentation in varying sizes. Every circle is outlined by a black border. The material is lightweight, roughly the same weight as wood. It's firm to the touch, though it can be dented with some pressure. Does anyone know what it is? This appears to be the remains of a subsea float, sometimes referred to as pudding weights. Subsea floats are buoyant objects that are attached to equipment to make it lighter in the water, functioning much like a regular buoy but positioned beneath the surface. They need to be buoyant enough to float, yet not overly so, and also durable enough to withstand immense pressure, as they are often used at great depths. This balance is achieved by gluing small plastic balls together with a type of resin. Sometimes someone accidentally gets one of these into the ship's propeller, which chops it into bits like that. It makes the entire ship complain with both sound and vibration as the propeller blades chop through the hard but brittle material. I have this hermetically sealed brass box, engraved with Japanese writing and dragon designs. It feels as though it's filled with sand, measuring about 9 inches long and 2 inches wide. I discovered it in an auction lot that was mostly made up of items linked to U.S. soldiers from World War II. So far, every sealed metal container that feels like it's full of sand I've encountered has turned out to contain cremated remains. Does anyone know what it is? It's a Chinese paper. Scroll weight for keeping paper flat while doing calligraphy and keeping scrolls open while reading them. It's filled with sand because making it with solid metal would make it too heavy and expensive, so it's made with metal sheet then filled with sand to increase its weight. I picked this up at an antique store for $9. It was labeled as a xylophone, and we thought it might make a unique coffee table. I've never come across anything quite like it, so I wasn't sure if the label was accurate. Does anyone know what this actually is? This is a tongue drum. My friend, who's an instrument collector, told me he's never come across such a great deal. Tongue drums can be tuned. To lower the note of a particular tongue, you either add weight to the end of the tongue or grind a small amount away from the base of the tongue, both options underneath. To lift the note, you can take weight away from the end of the tongue, either by removing extra weight that was there or gently grinding material away. 24 years ago, my mom was walking along the beach on Cocos Keeling Islands, located in the middle of the Indian Ocean, when she found something intriguing. The screws on the object are all tarnished with a blue-green hue, which I believe might indicate copper or nickel, though I could be mistaken. The piece is completely solid, with brass or a similar metal caps tightly affixed to the brown section, so it makes no sound when struck, only the dull thud you'd expect. It seems to be made of brass or another metal on top and is attached to either a very heavy lacquered wood or a dense rock, possibly a type of river stone. My mom truly loves this item and isn't willing to test the materials by scratching or unscrewing it, as she's not willing to risk damaging it in any way. Any idea what it could be? This is a marine engine order telegraph rheostat switch, likely from an era before 1920.